Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Manish Jain or Mr. Jain, and you are watching Electric Avenue. This is episode number 15, and this is a wrap up for February 2024 of the Indian automotive scene. So, and specifically the EV scene. So, as usual, we got four things we're going to cover this month. We're going to go over the monthly registration figures. We'll talk about any recent EV news and launches. And then for EV car spotting, I've got a unique one. I got the new Mercedes-Benz EQG. That is the G-Wagon that is electrified. And then the deep dive is not really going to talk about any technology or anything like that. It's going to be talking about the Bharat Mobility Expo that was just held in early February, and I had a chance to attend it. So that was really cool. So we'll talk a little bit about what that is and what's going to be happening with that event moving forward. So that is the February 2024 wrap up. Let's just jump right into the numbers as we always do. All right, so we are now looking at the EV car sales in India. And before I actually start, just want to let people know that a lot of the data comes from right down here. As you can see, I've talked about it, comes from evreporter.com, Vahan, FADA, OEMs, and Twitter of all places. So it's a kind of an amalgamation of all the data because there really is no one single place that has all of the data. So I kind of get bits and pieces, and that's kind of where we're aggregating all the data from. So let's kind of get into it. Let's take a look at what we've got. And so what we're looking at here is the last 6 months worth of data. And if you look at the high level number, for February, we got a little over 7,043 vehicles sold. That's four-wheelers in India. And then if you kind of look at from the top, it's Tata Motors at 4,800 units. And that's a combination of all three of their EVs out there. And now the fourth one, which is the Punch. I'm not sure if this includes any EV Punch data because it's so new, but maybe a couple have gotten in there. Then you've got MG Motor at 1,030. MG, then you've got M&M, BYD, BMW, Hyundai at 116 units. You've got Citroen with 78, Mercedes with 42, and at the low end, you've got Audi with 20, Porsche with 3, and Jaguar with only 1. So, pretty much the rankings are the same, not much change in it. But I thought this month, it'd be kind of interesting to kind of compare how these sales compare to what is actually happening in the overall market. So this is from evreporter.com, and this is actually showing, so we just talked about our four-wheelers here, so around 7,000 units, 7,100 units. And if you actually compare it to what we're doing in the two-wheel segment, you can see the numbers are just massive on the two-wheeler side. So you've got close to 82,000 units a month being sold versus only 7,000 on the four-wheel side. And then, of course, you've got e-rickshaws also doing considerable. Then you've got the buses over here at 322. But really, you can see the big comparison between two-wheeler versus four-wheeler. And really, the two-wheel segment is really largely dominated by, Ather and, of course, the big guys, but also a lot of it is being sold in the logistics space. So last mile delivery carriers are using these e-bikes to kind of get goods from their dark stores, their dark warehouses to the end consumer. So anyways, I thought it'd be kind of fun to just kind of compare what's actually happening in the car segment versus what's happening in the two-wheel segment. And like I said, a lot of it's really driven by logistics on the two-wheel, three-wheel side. So that's a wrap up for new car sales for February 2024. Moving right along, let's get into the news. So we've got a couple articles, I think 3 articles. First one is BYD launches their third product, the BYD Seal, in India. So the first one was the E6, which is their minivan. Second is their BYD Atto. And this is the third, the BYD Seal. This is their high-performance sedan, 4-door version. They're going to be releasing, I think, 3 versions of it. But as you can see, it looks really nice. From the rear end, looks pretty nice. This is the side profile, looks very aggressive. This is about the size of a C-Class Benz. So, this kind of competes against the Tesla Model 3. Of course, we don't have the Model 3 here in India. So really the best comparison is the C-Class, which is an internal combustion engine. So that's launching very soon in India. Like I said, this is going to be the third car in their product portfolio here in India. Next up is Mahindra and VW Group. They finally have a supply agreement in place for EVs. Before they had an MOU, but this is actually an agreement in place where they will be. This will be the first external partner for M&M, and they'll be working with Volkswagen on their battery packs and cell and a bunch of other things. So I think it's also the platform. So it's a wide variety of different things that are going to be coming together for Mahindra and the Volkswagen Group. So like I said, they had announced something before, but now it's actually legit. They've signed it and things are good to go. And as you can see here, they're going to be launching their very first SUV sometime in December 2024. So that is what we're looking at, about 8-9 months away. So not too far away. So looking forward to that. Another article is VinFast. I've been very critical of VinFast, but they are moving very fast in India, and they had also announced an MOU. But not only have they signed the MOU, but they've actually started breaking ground on their EV plant in Tamil Nadu. So I think the total outlay is going to be close to 16,000 crores. So we're talking about $2 billion. That is not chump change. So that's pretty awesome. So that's actually happening with VinFast. So I was wrong, but they are actually being, very much coming to India with not only a product, but also production facility. Whether they do kits or they actually do full-blown manufacturing remains to be seen. But the fact is that they've launched this and they've done a groundbreaking is pretty awesome. So that's kind of it. So EV car spotting, this was actually not on the road, but this was at the Bharat Mobility Expo, and this is from Mercedes-Benz. This is their G-Wagon, G-Class wagon, and this is the concept that they're bringing that is going to be all electric. So it looks really nice. I mean, I must say when I saw it in person, I was like, damn, that's very cool looking. But of course, since it was on display, they didn't really have it on the road. So you couldn't do their very well-known party trick, which is what they call a tank turn. So that's typically, in sand or dirt, and it can kind of do a full 360, and just kind of in place, it keeps on moving. So that's kind of the party trick. The Plaid Model S has the party trick of doing 0 to 60 miles an hour in under 2 seconds, and the G-Class does this tank turn. So this was the car spotting. Remains to be seen if we actually see this in India anytime soon, but it definitely looked very impressive seeing it up close and in person. So that's the car spotting for Feb 2024. So as I mentioned, the deep dive for Feb 2024 is more about the new Bharat Mobility Expo. So this is a government initiative where they're trying to take all the automotive shows and merge them into a single event. So the idea is if you're a manufacturer or you're somebody that wants to do business in India, you can come to a single show and you see everything, all the way from the OEMs delivering final products to people that are actually selling taillights, brake pads, all of that. So all the in between, even the new technology, even the governments were there. So, the state of Maharashtra, the state of Odisha, all these states were there kind of talking about what they're doing from a perspective of, how they can get companies to invest in them. So very cool. I had a chance to go, like I said. And this is when I first landed into Delhi. I was kind of like, wow, shocked that this was a full page ad in the Economic Times talking about it. So it was, like I said, a pretty legit event. Very cool. And of course, it was so legit that, the Prime Minister actually gave a speech. I was not able to attend. That was probably limited to some certain VIP. And of course, I'm just a regular guy. So this was very cool, though. He actually came, gave a great speech. He was available on YouTube and talked about how they are going to do this every year, which is really good. And as I said, I was there as a special invitee, which is really nothing. But I was invited by the Invest India team, which is basically, think of it as the, not really venture capital arm, but more of a way for a single window. So if you're a company and you say you're going to, invest millions of dollars or billions of dollars, you work with Invest India and they can kind of help you with whatever you need. So I thought it was very cool that they invited me. And of course, I love my title as the car guy. So that was very, very, very good of them to do that. And of course, they had a bunch of different things. They showed off the Maruti EVX, which is their e platform that they're launching. Then of course you've got this as well here. That was a couple different vehicles. So overall, very cool. I believe this was the Mahindra one, if I'm not mistaken. Even I can't remember, but overall, very nice. So, that's kind of a wrap on this episode. It's very short, but of course, February is also a very short month. So, anyways, take care, and I will see you next month.
Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take